All right, peace, brothers and sisters. Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, give honor and praise to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Yaakov. Give a double honors to 7130 South Chicago that taught me this truth. Give a double honors to all the brothers and sisters that the Creator is working in these last days. With that being said, peace and shalom. All right, brothers and sisters, we're going to go into quote unquote some black history. I'm going to do a part two on this just as well, but I just want to do a brief discussion, right? So we can understand some type of history on who we are, right? So in this article, this is Wikipedia, and as you can see the name, right, it says the Kingdom of Whydah, right? So let's look at what it says about it. It says the Kingdom of Whydah, known locally as Glexwi Glihu, but also it says but also known and spelt in old literature as Huda, Whydah, Judah, Iuda, Whydah, Judah, and Judah. And the reason why I was doing this is because I always make this statement: they didn't bring no niggas to America. They brought the nation of Israel of the tribe of Judah. And as you can see that the term Whydah, like when the French came over there in different nations, or what we call the Ten Toes, sometimes they had called us by like different names, but they understood on the map of 1747, and I think it's another map out here too, that when you went to Negro land, that you had a place within Negro land that was called what? The Kingdom of Judah. See, or yeah, they was calling it the King of Judah. And see, this is further proof that the Jews or the people over there, the Caucasian Jews that's practicing our way of life, they are not the indigenous people of the land, brothers and sisters. So let's finish reading. It says Yoruba, Glefly, if I'm pronouncing it right, French, Uda or Iuda, was known on the west coast of Africa in what is now Benin. See, when the slave master came and got us, see they had a historical, they had a historical, they had a historical situation on who they was coming to get, right? So it says it was a major slave trading area which exported more than 1 million Africans to the United States. And see, that flies in the face to brothers that try to say that the transatlantic slave trade never existed. See, so it says the Caribbean and Brazil before closing in trades in 1860s. It says in the 1700s it had a coastline of around 16 kilometers under King Hafan. This was expanded to 64 kilometers or kilometers, 40 miles, if I'm pronouncing that right. It says in stretching 40 kilometers, 25 miles inland, right? So what was some of the religion that we was practicing on the west coast of Africa? See, a lot of us, we still had a historical memory of who we were, but the Creator had already said that we was going to be doing what? We was going to be following, one second, we was going to be following false gods. So one of the religions that we was following over there was what they would call voodoo or vadum, right? So let's look at vadum. It says vadum meaning spirit in Fan or Gun or Ewe languages. It says it is a religious practice by Aja, Iri, foreign people of Benin, Togo, Ghana, and Nigeria. So when the Creator said in Deuteronomy 28 chapter that He's gonna scatter you, that basically you're gonna be a proverb and a byword, and that you're gonna be worshiping God's wood and stone. So now we can kind of get a glimpse of what that means. So when we were scattered throughout the four winds, the book of Isaiah, the book of Jeremiah, and different books, we can see what we will be doing in these different countries or cities. It says elements of the West African religions have survived and evolved into the current forms of religions with similar names that are found in the New World among the African diaspora in America, such as Surinamese, Wanti, Haitian, Vodou. See, these were all the practice. These were some of the practices that we was dealing with when we was scattered throughout the four winds amongst the heathens. So we back at this. It says the kingdom of Whydah was centered in Savi. It also it also has connection to the city of Iuda. The last ruler of Whydah was King Hafan, who was deposed in 1727 when Whydah was conquered, and annexed by a kingdom of Dahomey. See, when we talk about the blacks that sold us into slavery and stuff like that, see, the Dahomey were some of the people that sold us into slavery. It says 1727. It says, Whydah was conquered by King Agaja of the kingdom of Dahomey. This incorporation of Whydah into Dahomey transformed the latter into a significant regional power. However, constant warfare with the Oyo Empire 1728 to 1740 resulted in Dahomey becoming a tributary state of Oyo, if I'm pronouncing that right. It says life inside Whydah, according to one European who visited in 1697, 1700. Whydah was a center of the ancient African slave trade, selling some thousand slaves a month, mainly taken captive from villages into the interior of Africa. For this reason, it has been considered a principal market for slaves. So, what we showing, brothers and sisters, one second, that our people had a historical memory of who they were. So when we got over here to America, we was not allowed to transmit that history down to our kids, right? Says for this reason has been considered a principal market for slaves. When the great chief called king by Europeans, it says could not supply the traders with sufficient slaves, he will supplement them with his own wives. Robbery was common. Every person in Whydah paid a toll to the king, but corruption among slave traders was endemic. It says, despite this, the king was wealthy and clothed in gold and silver, which were otherwise little known in Whydah. He commanded great respect and usually was never seen to eat. The color red was reserved for the royal family. It says the king was considered immortal, although successful kings were recognized as dying of natural causes. Interregnum, even on a it says even of only a few days, were often occasion of plundering and anarchy by the populace. The traditional African society isolated women, protecting them from the larger society of other men. Fathers were recorded with more than 200 children by their numerous wives. So this is some of the things that we was doing on quote unquote the west coast of Africa and stuff like that. So I'm not going to be too long. Let's go into the military real quick. It said, according to early sources, the king could field 200,000 men. In comparison, other estimates range upward from 20,000, although contemporary interpretation is generally that these armies were of overwhelming size. Battles were normally won by strength of numbers alone, with the weaker side fleeing. So, even on the west coast of Africa, brothers and sisters, we had an army. See, we had men that protected, you know what I'm saying, their people and stuff like that. So, this is just a quick little overview on some of our history and some of the names that we went by. But as you can see, the people knew that we were the people of who? Judah, or in the Hebrew tongue,